A released WWE star could be returning to the company. Plus, we're going to talk about Chris Peck and the AEW controversy, plus so much more. Welcome back to TAS. Today was the Netflix on Raw kickoff show. WWE had this on all social media platforms, and Logan Paul came out. A couple things that we need to talk about. First and foremost, Logan Paul has been switched from SmackDown to Raw. So he has entered the transfer portal. He is going to be on Raw. It makes sense. Obviously, Logan Paul is a big established name outside of the WWE. Netflix is going to want that. So obviously, for a million reasons, that truly does make sense. But what was even more interesting is the fact that WWE is already teasing potentially Logan Paul going after Gunther. Now, listen, you guys know I've talked about it. Logan Paul is a great wrestler. He's not bad with his promos. He's athletic. He's gifted. He's going to have some great matches in the WWE. He's already had some great matches in the WWE. But the reality is, I do not want to see Logan Paul versus Gunther. I don't want to see Logan Paul going after the World Heavyweight Championship. I don't think it helps the WWE in the slightest if Gunther were to drop the belt to Logan Paul. And quite frankly, if you guys missed today's video that I released earlier today, the plans are really for CM Punk to be involved in the world title picture. So if for some reason Logan Paul were to beat Gunther, I wouldn't want to watch CM Punk versus Logan Paul. Really, I think Logan Paul being on Netflix is cool. I don't know what WWE's plan is for him going into WrestleMania 41. Obviously, we know he is preparing for a boxing fight against Conor McGregor, which we spoke about in a video for yesterday. So Logan Paul is constantly in the headlines. He's constantly in the mix. And that's fine. Like, he could be involved for the IC title. He could be involved in the mid card. They can give him the big time matches. He's going to be there on Netflix, which is obviously, it makes a lot of sense. Again, I understand. But I'm not interested in watching a program between him and Gunther. I think for Gunther, he is a very, very credible world champion. He has done such a remarkable job as a world champion. And the truth is, I just don't really want to see that. I think it would be much better for the WWE if they were to be in a position where Logan Paul is going after the big time matches, which I do fully expect at some point to happen. Now, what are some of those big time matches? It's really going to depend on how the roster shakeup goes, because as far as Logan Paul goes, I mean, you could put him in the mix pretty much with anybody. But the name that I keep hearing about is John Cena. And I know some people are going to like that idea. I personally don't like that idea. I am actually more in favor of Logan Paul and John Cena, maybe before or maybe after John Cena wins the world championship. I've been saying for a while I want him to win number 17. So that's kind of where I'm at with it. The Logan Paul situation is crazy, though. He's obviously a big star. He just said he retired. Now he's unretired. So obviously there's a lot of conversation about that. But surely everybody knows Logan Paul is going to be in the mix. So it is what it is. Guys, we got to talk about Chris Peck and the AEW controversy. This is some really crazy stuff that I want to dive into. Just tons of controversies, and this is one that doesn't look good for AEW. So we should address this. For those who don't know what I'm looking at, this is a GoFundMe where you can support Jamie Hahn's family in crisis. Now, this is interesting because the whole read up on here is it's a lot, and I'm going to put the link in the description if you guys want to help out. But basically, this plea of help comes from a now homeless mother of 3 as a result of careless, egotistical, and inhumane actions of AEW and Chris Peck, a member of AEW's inside legal counsel. I will do my best to explain the pure catastrophic destruction Chris Peck's behavior has had on my life since September 2023, and I pray that anyone reading this will do so with compassion and an open mind, as this journey that started out positively has been anything but fair or kind. So basically, what you guys need to see here is that Jamie Hahn says, after losing my home, we resorted to staying in my car as I sought any and all available shelter resources. Unfortunately, local resources are scarce in my area, and we have yet to successfully secure shelter. Survival has been challenging for quite some time. Things took a turn for the worse 2 weeks ago when the engine in my car blew, without financial means to have it towed or repaired. So this is obviously a little bit of context of her situation now if you guys want to donate. But this is where things get interesting. To provide some background, you may be familiar with the June 2023 criminal case against BJ Whitmer, former ROH wrestler and talent coach and producer for AEW, for first-degree strangulation and second-degree burglary. What people don't not know is that this is the direct impact that Chris Peck single-handedly had on the outcome of the criminal case against my abuser, his sentencing, and my ability to properly recover financially, mentally, and physically. The trauma and hell of such a cruel and sinister experience is unspeakable. It is an evil that no person could prepare themselves for. I was brutally assaulted and then robbed of any chance of justice when Chris Peck breached the terms of the very NDA he forced me to sign at one of my most desperate moments. Without being subpoenaed or having any legal obligation whatsoever, and despite the date, timestamp, documentation of my every interaction with AEW, Chris Peck wrongfully provided an inaccurate description of my intentions and false context of my engagement with AEW. And then she puts Miga Peck, who is one of the AEW lawyers, dating back to June 2023. Peck blatantly lied to the defense attorney and the prosecution team. AEW has been made aware of Peck's actions, the impact his actions had on my case, and the devastating impact it has on my life since March 2024. AEW has had ample opportunity and time to address it and take responsibility for Peck's actions, yet they have done nothing, putting me in the most vulnerable position imaginable. My intentions were never to jeopardize or harm AEW. My initial outreach to AEW was to inform them that BJ had been arrested and was in jail. My first outreach to AEW was to Miga Peck, who I had known from BJ. She had expertise in mental health and crisis management, and BJ mentioned she had helped him at times. So basically what this is that she has gone to AEW, and as she outlined with Chris Peck, basically everything got worse. What she is saying is relatively crazy, in the sense that like it is damaging, right? AEW has yet to respond to this. It's a very big controversy. A lot of people are questioning what kind of legal counsel AEW has in their company. And it's not the first time that we've heard of weird issues, but this is one to definitely pay attention to. And again, I'll put the link in the description if you guys want to support Jamie Hahn. And ladies and gentlemen, Curtis Axel did a new interview, and he was talking about some stuff about potentially coming back to WWE. I thought this was really interesting for a variety of reasons. He's actually hinting at a potential comeback following his 2022 departure. One thing that he says is that producing for the WWE is still on the table. He could go back there and help out. He's been away from the ring for a little bit of time, but he is getting back and getting ready to work and do some stuff. So nobody really knows if he's going to come back to the WWE, but he did say that WWE couldn't afford to produce him. They couldn't afford to keep him as a producer when he worked in the company last, because he was working in a part-time capacity, and then his financial limitation obviously led to his exit from the company. But this guy has not been involved in wrestling since his release, so a lot of people are wondering if this means he'll come back to the company and work in the ring. What's the situation? Obviously, we don't know. But what I will say is this: Curtis Axel is a hell of a talent. If he does come back to the WWE, it makes a lot of sense for a producer role, especially in NXT. I could see that being very beneficial. If he doesn't come back to WWE in a producer role, I totally understand as well. So we'll have to see what happens. But ladies and gentlemen, that is the Ango Show.